Ambassador, Mr. Andrew Bobby, with a bouquet of flowers. May I request Dr. Kedarnath Singh to formally welcome Mrs. Zorita with a set of books.
The distinguished Indian poets who are going to be reciting their poems today, and all the distinguished gathering which is here. I am so happy to welcome each one of you. And I must thank the Embassy of Chile in India for collaborating with us to organize this poets meet. It's a privilege to have such beautiful voices reading to us today, along with Dr. Zorita. This has been an honor to the Sahitya Akademi that he has agreed to the invitation and has come here to be doing a bit of reading in spite of his bad hair. So we are really grateful to him and the ambassador and the Chilean embassy who all arranged this program for us here today. A very warm welcome to all of you for coming here. We have printed a book on this occasion. You must have all seen. We have all the poets reading today, their photographs, their biodatas, and the poems they are going to read, except, of course, Professor Shiv Prakash ji, who couldn't come because he couldn't get a connecting flight from Bangalore. He just missed the flight because of the bad weather. So we will not be hearing him today. But all the other information is here, and I am very happy that all of you are here. And Sahitya Akademi has been organizing such poets meet and poetry festivals all over the country. And we have in Sahitya Akademi, we do more than 600 programs in a year. So which is almost one program a day, I think more than 19 hours one program. And to have all of you here and listen to different voices is what we are looking forward to. I thank you all for coming, and I think we will be starting with Kedarji. Before that, would you like to introduce them briefly, or after the ambassadors? Okay. I would request His Excellency the Ambassador to address the gathering, and then my colleague Dr. Rajmohan will very briefly introduce each and every guest, since we already have the information. This will save our time and we will be listening more to the poems. The Ambassador, Chilean Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mohan. Thank you very much for receiving us here in this fantastic place. We are so proud to invite Raúl Zurita. We are really enjoy his poetry, and we are so happy to have the possibility to present him here, all of you. And I believe it's a really good opportunity to share this our poetry. In Chile, as I mentioned yesterday, being a poet is more important than to be a writer. I mean, we have 2 Nobel Prizes, and Raúl is part of this players of really fantastic poet that we have in Chile. So it's especially, I am especially honored to present him, and to be among all of you is the most important part here in India. So thank you very much, Ms. Mohan, for this opportunity. Thanks all of you for coming, and I'm absolutely sure you're going to enjoy the presence of Mr. Raúl Zurita here. Muchas gracias a todos por estar acá.
As Ms. Bhavan already said, so all the biographic information are already there. Of course, it's very sad for Shiv Prakash to not come here today. And we'll start with Dr. Kedarnath Singh, Sachizanandji, K.K. Dorwalaji, Annabekaji, Subodh Sarkar. Then Dr. Raúl Zurita will read some of his poems and, in English, and our friend Suresh Dhingra will interpret in Hindi a couple of poems. So first we'll begin with Dr. Kedarnath Singh. He's one of the most prominent modern poets in Hindi. He's an eminent critic, he's an essayist, and his first poem was published almost 7 decades ago, 1950, 67 years ago, and his decade later he had his first collection of poetry, and his poem, Tiger, one of the poems which he's going to read, is one of the most widely read. It's part of curricula in several states, and he's a recipient of highest honors in India, literary honors, Bharatiya Jnanpith. He's a fellow of the Sahitya Akademi, he's a recipient of Sahitya Akademi Award, Vyas Samman, Kumaranasan Award, and so many awards among them. So, most welcome, sir. Thank you very much, and it's our privilege to have you here. Yeah, please, sir. Please, sir. Yes, sir.
सैकड़ों बरस हुए, कभी सही सांस बिना किसी सूचना के घुस जाओ शहर, कभी आरती के आलोक में ईशा अचानक देखो अद्भुत इसकी बनावट, आधा जल में है आधा मंत्र में, आधा नीर में है आधा शंख में, आधा शव में है आधा नेक में। अगर ध्यान से देखो तो ये आधा है और आधा नहीं है। जो है वो खड़ा है बिना किसी स्तंभ के, और जो नहीं है उसे थामे हैं राख और रोशनी के ऊंचे ऊंचे स्तंभ, आग के स्तंभ और पानी के, खुशबू के, आदमी के उठे हुए हाथों के स्तंभ, किसी आरक्षित सूर्य को देता हुआ शताब्दियों से इसी तरह अपनी एक टांग पर खड़ा है ये शहर, अपनी दूसरी टांग से बिल्कुल बेखबर। कवि हो गए हिंदी में पुराने संत साधु, जो 300-400 वर्षों के बीच में निधन हुआ था, उनकी समाधि अभी है और वो मथुरा के पास कहीं है। वहाँ मैं कल गया था, देख के जो मेरे मन में भाव जगा वो है कुंभन दास के प्रति, कुंभन दास नाम था, जो जिसको उस समय भाषा ने बुलाया था, वे पहुँच नहीं पाए वहाँ, उनको संबोधित करते हुए संत कर खड़ा हूँ आपकी समाज के सामने, और मेरे दिमाग में गूंज रही है आपके ऊपर संतन को कहा सीखरी सोता, सदियों पुरानी एक छोटी सी पंख, और उसमें इतना था कि लगभग 500 वर्षों से हिला रहा है। कविवर रिश्ता क्षमा हो तो पूछो, क्या पता आखिर एक संत कवि को कुटिया छोड़कर जाना क्यों पड़ा था सिगरी अकबर जरदारी की। कितना समय लगा एक कवि के पैरों को अपनी कुटिया से चलकर सीकरी तक जाने में। लगाने पड़े महल के कितने चक्कर, पर नहीं भी टूटी और गिर पड़ा झोली से कहीं हरि नाम की। क्या हुआ था कवि की आंखों को कैसी दृष्टि थी कि अंतर से फूट पड़ी हिंदी की सबसे अकेली दुखी हुई संत कवि। चलने से पहले मेरा नमन स्वीकार, दिल्ली से आया हूँ, चाहूँ न चाहूँ जाना होगा दिल्ली, और दिल्ली आज की शीतली असर करो, और दिल्ली आज की शीतली असर करो, तब तो एक थी, अब एक के अंदर एक, यानी कितनी शीतलियाँ। जानता हूँ समाज से फूट कर आता नहीं कोई उत्तर, फिर कविवर जाते जाते पूछो, ये कैसा रिमल है कविता और सीकरी के बीच सदियाँ गुजर गई और आज तक तो पटीश
Now may I request Professor K. Sachidanandan to read some of his poems, and Sachidanandan ji is perhaps the most translated among the contemporary Indian poets. He's got 27 of his poetry collections translated into 19 languages, including English, Irish, Arabic, French, German, Italian. This all this, of course, besides in addition to what a large number of his poems have been translated into Russian, Latvian, Spanish, Mandarin, Welsh, and other languages. And he is the recipient of 36 literary awards, including Sahitya Akademi Award, Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award for 4 times, Poem National Award, Knighthood Order of Merit from Italy, India-Poland Friendship Medal from the government of Poland, etc. Professor Sachidanandan.
Not quite well, but I have just managed to come here and read some of the translations of my poems done by myself into English. The first poem is called The Barbarians. Many of you must have read C.P. Coffey's well-known poem, Waiting for the Barbarians. And this poem is a take-off from that poem. And, well, of course, it's a commentary on what's happening today. The Barbarians. We were certain they would come. We broke the idols of those who might have stood against them, one by one. We waited in the capital to welcome them with goblets brimming with children's blood. We removed our clothes to put on barks, set fire to monuments, propitiated fire for the sacrifices to come, changed the names of the royal streets. Afraid our libraries might provoke them, we raised them to the ground, letting only the palm leaves inscribed with the mantras of black magic survive. But we did not even know when they came, for they had come up, holding aloft our own idols, saluting our flag, dressed like we used to be, carrying our law books, chanting our slogans, speaking our tongue, piously touching the stone steps of the Royal Assembly. Only when they began to poison our wills, rob our kids of their food, and shoot people down, accusing them of thinking, did we realize they had ever been amidst us, within us. Now we look askance at one another and wonder, are you the barbarian? Are you? No answer. We only see the fire spreading, filling our future with smoke and our language turning into that of death. Now we wait for our Savior at a city square as if it were someone else. The way to heaven. I spent a year in Shimla, a mountain town. They gave me 6 points. This is just one of them. The way to heaven. Don't look for the way to heaven in holy books. Ask instead the extinct plants and beasts. Orphans know it. Some sparrows too. The blind know it. Some sorrows too. It is not those in golden crowns that attain heaven, but the mad women with their tiaras of leaves and rags. Then too the ripe jackfruit leaves drunk with the evening breeze, playing their copper lyre as they float and fly. Herds of clouds who have lost their shepherds, and dust soaring up from waste heaps with the dreams of gold. There's a coral tree on each step to heaven. With their thorns they put to trial every century of man. Ask for the numbers of the slain and the maimed. We will have to leave back all the beliefs we had held dear. Our answers are denied entry. On the way to heaven are the dense forests of the questions we fail to ask on earth. The rushing cataracts of instincts we ruthlessly suppressed. Our silent selves that we had abandoned on the wayside to please someone. Since there is no time here, our hair does not turn grey in its slow fire. Ears do not leave their plough marks on our face. Knowledge does not weigh us down. No desire that hurts, no hope that scars. There are no doors that are only half open, no complaining graveyards, no souls screaming for a body to be born. Here we take our baby steps against the dance of death. We boldly sing the songs we were scared to sing. Heaven is nothing but a life we never lived and are still scared of living. Heaven is nothing but a life we never lived and we are still scared of living. A poem about love. Some kinds of love. Some kind of love are like flu. First you sneeze, your body aches all over. You are hot outside and inside. It subsides after a week of nightmares. Now you are in forgetful repose. Some kinds of love are like smallpox. You wonder whether what you see on your skin are blisters or goose flesh. Your body is red hot with love. You may survive it, but the poke marks remain. You carry those scarred memories on your body until you die. Some kinds of love are like cancer. You take time to diagnose it. The pain starts too late. By the time she is already somebody else's. The drugs to stop the love cell from multiplying in vain will turn you thin and pale like a proverbial lover. When indifference fails, a knife alone can save you. Maimed thus, you will live like death. When it spreads again, death kindly tempts you from the branch of a tree, a river, a tall balcony of a small bottle or a small bottle. love survives you. Some kinds of love are like madness. You are lost entirely in a world of imagination. Your beloved does not even know of your love. You murmur, sing, laugh, quarrel, and roam around, all alone. Neither shackles nor electric shocks can tame it, for it is no disease, but in the state of dream. Here it lives, hence it lives among stars. The sweetest love is the unrealized one, like Radha's. You know, Radha was a lover who loved Krishna and who could never attain Krishna. The sweetest love is the unrealized one, like Radha's. And listen, boy, the girl of 13. The girl of 13 is not the boy of 13. I shall come back if the hungry worms and the obstructing angels permit me. And he gets so.
Thank you, Professor, such wonderful poems. We'll run through with each poet, so then we will open space for discussion among the today's poets and then for the audience. And the next poet is Sri K.K. N. Darwala. He is one of the most eminent English writers in India in the contemporary scenario. He has more than 15 published works to his credit, and some of his works are prescribed in curriculum. And he is a recipient of many prestigious awards, including Sahitya Akademi Award for his collection of poems, The Keeper of Death, and Padma Shri. He is a recipient of Padma Shri from the Government of India, and the Commonwealth Poetry Prize for his book Landscapes. And he has also been a member of National Commission of Minorities and a member of the Commonwealth Observers Group for Zimbabwe's election in 1980. K.K. Darwala, it's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Love to be here. I read slowly and I read a little loudly. The deaf often speak loudly. So at least I'll read so that the voice carries. And since our honored guests are from Spanish speaking, I'll start with the poem on Lorca. I did that as Medellin also when I went for a festival. I think he died a year before I was born. And it's a poem with 3 parts, but I'm just going to read the first part. Lorca. Dawn will come as it always has, escorted with birds, the earth chalice spiked with frost. Sandwiched between your rivers, one lament and the other blood, the land will flame like a tongue of fiery green, threading the Sierras. It's 24 page. The bull ring will pulse with blood, the red dust will still whirl and eddy across the road. Evenings will be as they were before, light rose or mauve shadow, or smeared with iodine and chopped with the flight of cranes. Nightscapes will still be the same, bars of flamenco carried by the wind, goat herds around the fire, and sheepdogs barking at the rustle of dry oak leaves. Only you will not be there. The second poem I'll read is an incantatory one. And incantation means that a line or two from each stanza dribbles down to the next stanza. So I'm going to read Fish. And I read it fast. The sea came in with her and a curved snout, and a tin-girdled barnacles, and long-threaded rose moles patterned on her body. The sea brought her, and a curved snout, and her rose moles, and her eyes still translucent, as if half aware and half unaware of the state of her body. The sea came in with her, and her scimitar snout, and her translucent eyes grained into stone. The sea brought her in, wrapped in seaweed, and slapped her on the sand, all 5 feet of her, with the armor of her scales and the filigree of her rose molds. The tide kept coming in, but couldn't disturb her or her resting place. She was so heavy. The sea fell back, but even as the thin-edged foam line receded, it went to her once more with a supreme effort, rummaged among her barnacles, and left. Read the guide also, that's also a part of the book. In fact, there are 2 Buddha poems I chose here. And this was, the guide is 23 if you are looking at the page. Sankasya is the place from where Lord Buddha is supposed to have gone to the heavens to preach to his mother, because his mother had never heard his lecture on enlightenment. And of course, he's supposed to have gone to heaven on a ladder of diamonds. It was a diamond ladder. The guide, flown specially from Delhi, caresses the smooth sandstone and turns garrulous as he shows us the elephant head. A big Ashokan edict perhaps lies waiting to be exhumed in this debris of mud and sun-baked brick that litters the land here. He points out the minutiae, the inverted lotus on the abacus, lotus mud-born and yet rising above the mud, foliate efflorescence. The people leaf everywhere, names the flying celestials and terracotta plaque, knows his panels, each rib and flange, and the hectic fantasy of the apsaras. The parrot, perched on the shoulder, pecks her breast, mistaking it for fruit. And that canopy of the cobra hood, shading the Buddha's head, is the snake turned worshipper, after his poison turned harmless in the Buddha's body. A woman bows to his torrent of words. Why, I ask, bewildered? Her smile is as benign as the Sakyamuni's. He knows as much about this holy statuary as the Buddha knew about the fate of souls. I'll read a poem from my sonnets, Pasagata sonnets. And this book is called Fire Altar, Poems on the Persians and the Greeks. I'll just read one sonnet. It's a cycle of 9, and then there are sonnets on Persepolis, etc. But I'll just read one. The ground is not crisscrossed by water channels now. There is no thicket of saplings around the dome, though across the road a thin-stemmed poplar grove flames in autumnal fires. There is no mosque dome, no bazaar, no kasbah, just one vast plain, and asleep on the skyline, python coils that sprawl the low detritus of the Zagros range. It is difficult to conjure up an entrance hall from the bull's severed legs which you cannot find, or let two piers dictate a profound perspective, a colonnade etched only in the mind. To make a skeleton out of some bone splinter, an imperial precinct out of floating columns, an ice age out of one solitary winter. At the last, I read this poem in, oh well, there are two. Sorry. May I, Mr. Chairman, may I read one more? Oh, I'm so sorry. There should be a light poem as well for the audience. So Bring in the Goats is the poem. And it's on Goddess Lakshmi. Though she never understood, Goddess Lakshmi stood in full public view in the Bank of India queue. That serpent fashion wound its sinuous way around Khan Market right up to the Lodi Garden ground. Goddess Lakshmi said, even as she smote her head, pimpled with beads of sweat that mirrored the burning sun, what have these wise men done? How do I gift a seaport to devotee Adani, or a Western Ghat fort to, I'm some billions short to my favorite Ambani. The goddess didn't think of slums and the whole of jobless bums. Her bank in disrepair, she spoke with not her usual flair. Please bring in the goats to whom I have to feed the notes. And the last, Jerusalem. I've been there quite often. I read this at Medellin and I got a tremendous reception. So I'm reading it here again. And I've been pro-Israel at one time and now pro-Palestine at another. So life goes on and you change with what has been happening. Jerusalem. And the old word name for Jerusalem is not figuring in my next book, but if I'm going to come out with a book called Political Poems, and it will be named after this particular poem. The old name for Jerusalem was Yerushalim, as you know. Yerushalim, you burn like an eternal candle. We are small men. Our eternities are spasms. You are an eternity, Jerusalem. Time is but a wee bit older than your stones. Beyond the desolate sea of sand and the desolate sea of salt, I come upon the amethyst dusk and your white stone, Jerusalem. For those who know history, there is nothing like you, Jerusalem. Those who drove us with their swords from Persia Let them not drive you from Jerusalem, Israel. But you are building a wall, and any wall between two people is a bad metaphor, Jerusalem. Berlin should have told you that. There are flares in the sky, but the lamps of your nation burn low. For what you are doing in Gaza, I wrote this in 2009 incidentally. There are flares in the sky, but the lamps of your nation burn low. For what you are doing in Gaza, siege and starvation, medicine denied to children, leaves your friends aghast, Jerusalem. Arab children play and laugh and hunger for love, just like your children, Jerusalem. Let the dew on the olive branch not turn to a coat of cordite. On this New Year Eve, I pray that peace and dew descend on you, Arab and Jew, on Palestine and you, Jerusalem.
Thank you very much, Kiki and Bhavanji. Now, next poet is Dr. Anamika. She's an eminent poet. She has 8 collections of poetry, 5 novels, and 4 books of criticism to her credit. She teaches English and writes poetry in Hindi. She is a recipient of 6 national awards, and most of her works, poetry, takes inspiration from folklore, folk tales, and also metaphysical strains in with Bhakti poetry. And her works appeared in World Literature Today and also Poetry International, Rotterdam. And she has travelled widely and presented her poems in a number of literary festivals across the globe. Dr. Anamika, please.
I'll read some of the translations. Good afternoon, everyone. And the first one is called Rabia Fakir in Kholi number 6. For so many years, I had been trying hard to befriend her, but she paid no heed. Every time I bumped into her, she smiled and walked past. But that day she stopped, held my hand, and almost possessed. In a flash, she said, "Since the beginning of this creation, I have known someone. Knowing someone is like buying another mirror for yourself, and another set of earphones, good ones, which let you hear distinctly what the bhatkoya berries say as parting words to the stunned silence of the ancestral fields, sold away in penury. If you listen closely, you can even hear the sad laughter of old prostitutes entering your space from some unknown mythic epoch, like swabs of cotton. You can hear Rag Jai Jaivanti on the Ektara of an ancient madman in the oldest asylum on the earth, and the whooping cough of the prisoner playing his chains to the rhythm of chan, 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 playing on the rhythm of crimes done, undone, and then you can hear the double meaning of all the rigid rules and the soft thud of languages almost sunk within the waters, each word of lost languages slowly turning into serpent jewels of the mysterious Nagaloka. Knowing someone takes a passionate plunge, first outside your being and then deep within. It sends ripples to the surface of the waters for ages, till you catch the call. Knowing someone is a slow rendition into pond, river, ocean and rain. Knowing is a departure. Clouds rain once, trees thrice. Drop by drop, they shake off memories. Knowing someone is a slow transmigration to trembling leaves, catching raindrops. Taken aback, I looked at her. Now her eyes were my Belgian mirror. Now that I had also known someone, I could also sense my transmigration to soft, tender leaves, catching raindrops. This one has been very graciously translated by Malavi, and this is called Selfie. At Chittor, in a courtyard floored in mud, I found Mirabai weighing her Lord Govinda on scales as large as the human heart, dipping left, then right in confusion. Seeing her intent in her task for the first time in my life, I felt the urge to click a selfie. Diligently had my children taught me how to click it, but never had I dared click one, wondering all through how could a mere click capture all that the self contains: the drop and the ocean, the ant and the mountain, the sun and the moon and the 5 elements, the rushing winds, the gusty streams, rain clouds and the lightning. Such a panorama, the vast firmament. How could a single click capture it all? Even if this is a hearsay, at least this I am a witness to, that this crazy mazy self of mine keeps running helter-skelter from one end of the universe to the other, a labyrinth of thoughts almost impossible to capture. From the last many births, I have been a cotton carder, sorting dilemmas so hard that they puff up. Limp cotton wool widespread, that's myself. How could this be framed in a click? And why should it be framed at all? Thought I, till I finally met Mirabai, drew myself to her, bent my head towards her shoulder. But before I could click a shot, Mira touched me with affection, and I completely forgot what had brought me to her. Eons of exhaustion gathered to seek rest, and I dozed off on her great shoulder, oblivious to selfie and the self and all that mattered.
Wow.
And this has been very graciously translated by Sudeep Singh, and this is called Salt. Salted earth's sorrow and its taste. Earth's 3/4 is brackish water, and men's heart a salt mountain. Weak is salt's heart, very quickly it melts. It sinks in shame when plates are flung due to salt's varied strength. There stands a government building like a salt shaker, shakes with much sophistication, sprinkles salt in my wound. Women are the salt of the earth. They have all the salt in the mold of their face. Ask these women how heavy it feels, their saline faces. All those determined to pay the salt's price, all those who couldn't betray their masters, have annoyed the 7 seas and the 7 revolutionaries. Gandhi knew the salt's worth. As the girl grew our cellars, whether or not something stays in the world, there shall always be salt. God's tears and man's sweat, this is salt that balances the earth. This is called translation. People are drifting apart, each one from the other. People are drifting apart, and the space around me is expanding. I translate this space not as breathing space, but as outer space, because I've sent my flying saucers out there. Thank you, time. My watch has stopped. Thank you, window. Just behind the grill, a sparrow is ready to lay her eggs. Whoever, wherever, thanks to all of you. This is the time you are all within me. I a little bit in each of you. My empty house jarringly plays a harmonium. This empty time filled with work. This is the time when I must translate dirty linen into the dialect of water. Then a little while stand still and think, if a sink full of soapy water can be translated into the melody of a raga. Frankly, this old house I'd like to translate into some other language. But where will I find this language except in the babblings of my kids? By the time I finish, it's evening. I'll translate this evening into drawing the curtains, the splinters of the waning light will fill up all the space in the split second and translate those splinters not into outer space, but into my breathing space.
Thank you, Dr. Amanika-ji, for wonderful poems. And now the final presenter of this meet is Professor Ferozeshah. He teaches English in Kolkata and is also the president of West Bengal Kobito Academy. He's a recipient of Sahitya Akademi Award, Gangadhar National Award for Poetry, Bangla Academy Prize, Bangla Bhushan Samman, etc. Professor Ferozeshah, please.
The first poem is called Mothers of Manipur. It was in 2006. 14 mothers came down to the Assam Rifles headquarters and they stood naked in protest against the military torture in that part of the country. A special power to military since 1958. And the culmination point was, I repeat, in 2006, when Morarama was lifted and she was raped, and then she was left back at the hut. So the poem is called Mothers of Manipur. But I'm tempted to read a few lines in Bangla before I start reading. If you allow me to read Bangla, I don't know. Panamika didn't read in Hindi. Shall I read the Bangla? Manipurer ma নগ্ন উঠে দাঁড়ালো আমার মণিপুরের মা। এই মায়ের দু চোখ থেকে চোখ পেয়েছি, আশির নৌক ভাষা পেয়েছি, পেয়েছি সারেগামা। নগ্ন উঠে দাঁড়ালো আমার মণিপুরের মা। যা খুশি তাই করতে পারে আর্মি আর পুলিশ, পথে কারফিউ, জলে চালিদার, কারো কিছু বলার নেই, বলার কথা না। নগ্ন উঠে দাঁড়ালো আমার মণিপুরের মা। আর্মি জিপ চলে গগন তলে, আর্মি জিপ সারে জাহাঁ সে বলে, আর্মি জিপে মেয়েটি আছে, আর্মি জিপে বোতাম খোলা চলে। I'm not reading the whole of it in Bangla. I understand. I should stop here. Now the English translation. Mothers of Manipur. Naked they stood up, the mothers of Manipur. My eyes are born from their eyes. All that I speak is from them, from their music. Naked they stood up, the mothers of Manipur. Can the army and the police do anything they like? Nobody is allowed in the streets. Only smoke goes by. Nobody can speak up. No way to protest. Naked they stood up, the mothers of Manipur. Army jeeps move around under the sky. Army jeeps sing our national song. There is unbuttoning in one jeep. A girl reeled into the jeep. Should the girl go home? Should the girl die under the sky? Police have erased her name. What's her address? A village outside Imphal? This is what happens every day. A girl is found unconscious, a younger sister missing. Only their skirts flutter from the trees. But in the month of July, the limit is past. Naked they stood up, the breast milk givers. Let the world watch the veins in their chest. How do you feel when you see your own mother naked? As Assam rifles shut the gates, I feel as I did in the I feel the river Ganga streaming out hot. The mothers of Manipur, redefined mothers. When mothers walk naked in protest, colonels, commanders, what did you do? Do you think your mom remains mom? She's burning. She's burning. Inside every mother, a mother within mother. The next poem I would like to dedicate to Raul Zurita, who came to Calcutta in 2004. At that time I was writing this poem when we had a long discussion at the Calcutta Book Fair, and he was there to inaugurate the book fair. And soon after that, after he left, just after 1 month, I was invited to read my poems. It's an invitation from IWP to Greece. But he was, every moment he was at the back of my mind. That was my, I believe that Raul Zurita is one of the finest poets from Latin America. And in Calcutta, especially in Calcutta, after Neruda, Pablo Neruda and Nicolas Guillen, both are almost household names in Calcutta. And Neruda, this name, you know, Da is a Bengali word, and Nehru becomes Neruda in Bengali, and this is why it became so popular with that. And it's like Shampada, Shubhasta, Shunilla, it's like Nehru. So, what happens after Nicolas Guillen and Neruda and the young poets when he came, and after that, the young, especially the little magazine poets, they started translating Raul Zurita's poems, and he was everywhere in little magazine, I believe. And it can be a big volume like this if we all collect all these poems from little magazine. What I am going to do? This is what I told him this evening. And it's really, he's an incredible poet. I have also translated some of his poems. It's my tribute to you, though the poem has no connection. Even it has no connection with his, when he was in jail, after President Allende was assassinated, which resulted also in the death of Pablo Neruda. And you know that Neruda is, again, his remains of his body are now, again, under the forensic scanning, and terrible things are happening there. Anyway, the poem is called Exile. Last year, I was in Greece to participate in a seminar by IWP, University of Iowa. In Greece, I thought everybody was Socrates. I met an old man at grocery drinking coffee from a paper cup. I asked him, "What's the name of the coffee?" He, with a wry smile, half philosophically said, "Hemlock." I took the heat of it and managed to say, "We all have been drinking the same for thousands of years." I met Antigone at a Mediterranean restaurant where baby octopuses are delicacies. She was a sports model and a poet. What a fun. She asked, "Tell me, how is life in India?" I said, "India is a poor twilight zone where most of us are looking for free lunch. From where you have some of the world's richest men. And from where you have some Nobel laureates as well. You want to know about me? Well, I'm a college teacher. At home, I have a cook, a driver, and a maid. In India, teachers do not know how to cook, drive, and housekeep. She widened her eyes. "You have 3 slaves?" Surprised, I laughed and I said, "You taught the word slavery." Along with 14 writers from across the globe, I was taken to Paros, an island with mobiles and internet, an island with mobiles and internet, an island with a mayor and microphones, an island with the oldest church in the world, where I found God was the first to migrate from one country to another. God was the first to find a home in exile. the Mediterranean spoke in violent murmurs. Sadly and angrily, any writer, any god, any octopus should mentally be ready to go on an exile. A very short poem. I wrote after my wife died. She passed away in 2011. She died of cancer. After Monica died, after a walk for 1,000 of years, today I suddenly understood that man is an ant eaten by another ant. After Holocaust, nuclear explosion, and gene mapping, I realized, trust me, I realized man is a caterpillar. After love and love making, malice and joy, I accepted the truth that man is but a moth in the universe with the burden of another universe on its little head. The last poem. This one is called In My Bastard English. Actually, it's not exactly against you are sitting next to me. It's not exactly against English writing or anything like in India. But it's my English. The way I learned, I was a refugee. My father was a refugee. So I was born there in this part of Bengal. You know that Bengal became two Bengals, East Bengal and West Bengal. And for my father, it was running and running and running along with my mother. And my mother, at that time, she had a very difficult time when she was coming to this part of Bengal, that is West Bengal now. And how difficult it was for me in childhood to pick up English. But ironically enough, that for the last 25 years I have been teaching English. It has happened with almost all writers in India. Not exactly like me, but it has happened, if you want. In My Bastard English, this is the last poem. I am not a bastard. My father was not a bastard. But my English is. I shout four-letter words in bastard English. Give me my quota to eat, drink, and dance. My friends who couldn't cope with English got lost. My friends who spoke English beautifully survived. I am not a bastard. My father was not a bastard. But my English is. In my bastard English, I provoke you to 7 deadly temptations. Temptation number 1, democracy is a prejudice. Temptation number 2, marriage is a lie. Temptation number 3, goddesses had silicon breasts. Temptation number 4, Christianity is a hoax. I take a pause to list out 3 other temptations. In my bastard English, I proclaimed, if democracy is good, why there is no drinking water for the poor? Who voted you to power? My temptation number 2 said, marriage is a lie. The why all husbands pretend as great husbands, with a fantasy of wooing other women. I take another pause to make a gesture of gross humanity, to tell the world that we are the twilight children of one geography and not of another. To tell the world that we are the babies of one language and not of another. We have now more bastards than before. But I am not a bastard. My father was not a bastard, but my English is. I am not to blame, but it is you who created the Commonwealth for the bastards like me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Subodhji. Now let's all hear our guest of honor for today's event, Dr. Surika. About him, it's there in the booklet. All of you can see. Now may I request Dr. Surika to read of his poems.
I'm going to read. He's going to read 3 poems in Spanish.
Desiertos de amor. Hay amor. Quebrados caímos y en la caída lloré mirándote. Fue golpe tras golpe, pero los últimos ya no eran necesarios. Apenas un poco nos arrastramos entre los cuerpos caídos para quedar juntos, para quedar uno al lado del otro. Nada ha sucedido y no es cierto. Nada es duro, no es duro ni la soledad. Nada ha sucedido y mi sueño se levanta y cae como siempre, como los días, como la noche. Todo mi amor está aquí y se ha quedado, pegado a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Pegado a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Recorrí muchas partes. Mis amigos sollozaban entre los viejos galpones de concreto. Los muchachos aullaban. Vamos, hemos llegado donde nos decían, le grité a mi lindo chico. Goteando la cara me acompañaban los señores. Pero nadie encontré para decirle buenos días. Solo unos brujos con Mauser ordenándome una bien sangrienta. Yo les dije, están locos. Ellos dijeron, no lo creas. Solo las cruces se veían y los viejos galpones cubiertos de algo. De un bayonetazo me cortaron el hombro y sentí mi brazo al cara al pasto. Y luego con él golpearon a mis amigos. Siguieron y siguieron. Pero cuando les empezaron a dar a mis padres con el urinario, vomitaron. Inmensas praderas se formaban en cada una de las arcadas. Las nubes rompiendo el cielo, los cerros acercándose. ¿Cómo te llamas y qué haces? Me preguntaron. Mira, tiene un buen culo. ¿Cómo te llamas buen culo, bastarda chica? Me preguntaron. Pero mi amor ha quedado pegado a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Pero mi amor, te digo, ha quedado adherido a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Ellas no conocen los malditos galpones de concreto. Ellas son. Yo vengo con mis amigos, sollozando. Yo vengo de muchas partes, fumo y pongo con los chicos. Es bueno para ver colores, pero nos están cavando frente a las puertas. Pero todo será nuevo, te digo, sí, lindo chico. Claro, dijo el guardia, hay que arrancar el cáncer de raíz, o sí, El hombro cortado me sangraba y el olor raro, la sangre. Dando vueltas se ven los dos enormes galpones, marcas de TNT, guardias y gruesas alambradas cubren sus vidrios rotos. Pero nosotros nunca nos hallarán, porque nuestro amor está pegado a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Pegado, pegado a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Pegado, pegado a las rocas, al mar y a las montañas. Murió mi Chile, murió mi Chile. Desaparecieron todos, desierto de amor. El mar.
Now he's reading the sea. He's going to read out the first part of the sea, which you have on page number 2.
Someone should read out the English translation. Yes, it cannot go like this.
It is what I'm reading by Hindi.
Yeah, that will be fine. That will be fine.
About the king, in the same point.
Or not after each point. Listen.
It's exactly the same. Now it's going to be translated at the same time. And the other one, the first one, is going to be reading in English. इस कविता का शीर्षक है प्यार के रेगिस्तान। यातना थी, प्रहार थे, और हम हो गए खंड खंड। मैं सुन पाया तुम्हारी आवाज, लेकिन छाने लगा था। लेकिन छाने लगा था जब मैं पहुंचा तुम तक, पंडितों के बीच, खंडितों के बीच। मैं बोला तुमसे, तुम देखती हो मुझे? और मैंने कर दिया आगे नंबर तो तुम्हें कुछ शेष नहीं है, लेकिन मृत मैं करता हूँ तुमसे प्यार, और हम करते हैं प्यार एक दूसरे से। हालांकि कोई नहीं समझ सकता। विशाल हिमखंड आ रहे हैं निकट, विशाल हिमखंड छतों के ऊपर हमारे प्यार के भरलाई हुई आवाज वाली एक औरत चिल्लाई, मेरे भरे आदमी डायनासोर खड़े हो रहे हैं, हेलीकॉप्टर गिर रहे हैं नीचे और नीचे। जहां पुराने दरवाजे हैं, ऊंची ऊंची दीवारें टीवी टावरों के साथ, तुम दिखाई दे सकती थी पर्दों को। ओ मेरे प्यार, अपने सपने में करता हूँ रोशन डायल और धूम।
Sorprendente carnaggio è un del cielo, sorprendente carnada sobre el mar. Abajo el océano, arriba las infugadas nubes del día claro. Sorprendente carnaggio è sobre el cielo, el mar. Hubo un amor que llueve, hubo un día claro que llueve ahora sobre el mar. Son sueños, carnada para peces, llueve un día claro, un amor que no alcanzó a decirse. El amor, así el amor, llueven desde el cielo asombrosas carnadas sobre las ondas de los peces en el mar. Caen días claros, extrañas carnadas pegadas de días claros, de amores que no alcanzaron a decir. El mar, se dice el mar, se dice carnadas que llueven de días claros pegados a él, se dicen de amores inconclusos, de días claros inconclusos, que llueven para sobre los peces en el mar. Hoy un cielo y un mar alucinantes, hoy soles estallados de amor cayendo como frutos, hoy torbellinos de peces devorando las carnes rosas de sorprendentes carnadas, hoy millones de peces que son tumbas con pedazos de cielo, con cientos de palabras que no alcanzaron a decirse, con cientos de flores de carne roja, pedazos de cielo en los ojos, hoy cientos de amores que quedan fritos en un día soleado, y hubieron carnadas desde el cielo. Viviana llora. Viviana vio torbellinos de peces elevarse por el aire, disputándose las bocadas de una despedida trunca, de un rezo no oído, de un amor no dicho. Viviana está en la playa. Viviana soy Chile, el pez largo de Chile, que se eleva por los aires, devorando las carnadas de sol de sus difuntos. Está el mar, se dice. Están las tumbas carnívoras de los peces. Están las carnes color de almendra y el mar. El mar llora, Viviana llora. Hay cielos infinitos de almendra. Estrellas como los frutos dicen y caen. Son sorprendentes carnadas que llueven del cielo, como las estrellas. Como frutos que caen sobre el pasto. Hay un universo sin fin en el estómago de los peces. Estrellas, campos de almendra. Vivían ahora inmensos campos de almendros rojos de sangre cayendo sobre el mar. Infinitos días claros lloviendo sobre las espumas rojas del mar. Llueven hombres que caen con poses extrañas, como raros frutos de una rara cosecha. Vivían ahora llover sorprendentes carnadas de hombres, asombrosas frutas humanas cosechadas de extraños campos. Vivían ahora Chile, oye frutas humanas llover, como dorados soles reventándose en las aguas. He allí tu hijo. Vivían hoy arcos de ceja increíblemente alzadas, hoy ojos abiertos sin fin cayendo desde las cejas del cielo, hoy los clavos hundiéndose en la cruz del océano, todo el mar de Chile, la cruz, infinitas llanuras desde el cielo cantan en la osana de la cruz sobre el mar, y los alimentos que caen como llanuras, como panes en el estómago de los peces. Vivían ahora infinitos cardúmenes santos, sabiendo, subiendo, infinitos peces cantando con la voz tomada del cielo. Ascienden los peces al cielo. Sorprendente carnario vieron con sorprendentes días, con un ángel de almendros con amores truncos. Sorprendente carnario vieron sobre el mar santo, sobre los peces santos. Santo es el mar, santas las llanuras de frutos humanos que caen, santos los peces. Hoy infinitos días cayendo, cuerpos que caían con cielos, con campos entrevistos, con árboles como cruces coreando las cantadas aguas. Viviana burbuja el mar santo. Viviana dice que el Padre Santo a su hijo. Mares fueron arrojados como prendidos de extrañas semillas, campos arados cubren el mar.
The sea. Strange waves rain from the sky. Surprising rain falls upon the sea. Down below the ocean, up above, unusual clouds on a clear day. Surprising baits rain on the sea. There was a love raining. There was a clear day that's raining now on the sea. Their shadows, a bait for fishes, a clear day is raining, a love that was never said. Love, ah yes, love. Amazing baits are raining from the sky on the shadow of fishes in the sea. Clear days fall, some strange baits with clear days struck to them with lobes that were never said. The sea, it says, the sea. It says baits that rain and clear days stuck to them. It says unfinished loves, clear and unfinished days that rain for the fish in the sea. Thank you.
Chile, as the cultural counselor of the embassy, I want to thank you all for your assistance, Madam Mohan, Mr. Raj Mohan, for all the wonderful efforts undertaken to have this wonderful opportunity to reunite one of the most important poets of India and have the opportunity to meet Mr. Sahitya, which is one of the most important Slav poets, not only in Chile but in Latin America. So I want to thank you all, and now I will invite you to have refreshments in the first floor of the Sahitya Academy, and thank you very much, all of you, for coming. Thank you. One second before we finish, Mr. Rosalita wants to address for a few minutes.
I want to thank you deeply for this summit.
Ha sido un placer, un honor y un gusto escucharlos.
It has been an honor, it has been a pleasure to listen to you all.
Yo me equivoqué un poco, yo venía más bien preparado para un diálogo.
I was a little mistaken. I came prepared rather for a dialogue.
Por eso no tenía los textos preparados, les pido excusa.
That's why I did not have the texts on hand. I'm sorry for that.
Mucho gusto, muchas gracias.
It was a pleasure. Thanks a lot.